And boom, we are live, guys. Wow, 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 wow. Here we are. It's been a while. Let me double check. Hello, everybody. Hope you are doing very well. Let me check if the sound is all right. Let me know in the chat. Tup, 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 tum. Tum, tum. And oh, wow. Yes, everything is working. How are you guys doing? Hello, guys. Coffee ready. Glass of water ready. And in about 20 minutes, we're gonna have the New York Open. And I just thought, haven't done a live stream for a while, so why not just go live just before the market open, so we can, just check out the price section, whatever is going on, and see what we can make of it. So welcome, everybody. And let me see who's in the chat. First of all, let me just welcome everybody. Just wait a little bit till people start rolling in. We got some time, like trading. The plan is made, so I already kind of know what I'm looking at. I'm going to inform you about it in a second. And just let me check in the chat who is there. Magic Mike back in the house. That's right. I've been creating some videos for you guys lately, so I've been uploading some videos for those who are new to the channel and that want to learn from the beginning. So I'm working on those kind of videos. That videos will keep on coming. Today is going to be, for the day traders and the hardcore technical analysts, and we're gonna do the real stuff here. And we're going to observe the market open. New York is going to open in about 20 minutes time. And, we're just going to observe the price action and see how that open is going to go, what I'm expecting, and how I'm looking to trade this. Little disclaimer, it's also in the description below. This is not financial advice, right? So even if I say something, it is for educational purposes and not meant for you to specifically follow whatever I am doing. So if you are taking a trade, this is your own decision, right? So whether you are going to win the trade or lose the trade, that is entirely your decision what you're doing with that. So having that said, that out of the way, let's go. Let me see in the chat. People are on vacation in Thailand. Kevin, welcome, my friend. We have some Dutch people over here. Here it's 3 o'clock for me. So wherever you are, good morning, good evening, good night. And hopefully this is going to be a nice stream where we're going to have some price action. We already are starting to have some volatility coming into the market, so that's great. I have been away for some time. I've been in Morocco, beautiful country, by the way. I've been there. I went to the desert, and I must say I kind of went a little bit unprepared. I think that's the best way to put it. Me coming from, I'm living in the Netherlands currently, and the weather is quite cold, right? So I'm pretty used to living cold weather. So I went there with quite some naive expectations, where I pretty much only brought like really summer clothes and just a sweater. And I had the idea to go into the Sahara Desert because, I thought, like, I've seen some documentaries, must be hot there, right? So, oh boy, I can tell you, going there in January, in the day, it's kind of fine. But if you're staying the night in the desert, please make sure you're bringing some warm clothes because, oh boy, was it cold there. It's basically freezing there in the middle of the night. So that was quite a funny adventure. A cold one, but extremely beautiful. Maybe I can show you some pictures later, but we are not here for that right now. We are here for trading. So, hope you are all doing very well. I can see that some people are starting to tune in now. That's great to see. Right. Smash the likes kaput, right? Make sure you hit them as many times as you can, as long as it's an uneven number. So please do that for me. Help me out a little bit. And having that said, let's get just straight into the charts. Bitcoin, that's what I'm looking at right now. That's mostly what I'm trading. I think it's a good idea to first pick up a little bit from the narrative where we left off in the last stream, which is pretty much a month ago. I want to start off showing you a little snippet. It's about 1 minute of where we left off the last time. So if you haven't seen the previous stream, I'm just going to show you a little snippet. After that, I'll show you, if you want to rewatch that stream, how you can reach that. But just for some context, I wanna show you that. It saves me a little bit of explanation, and I've already explained it. So, saves me some voice thing going on here. So there we go. I'll show you this part. Let me mute that. Positive about the markets. Let's say than last week, because now we actually have reclaimed some levels, and you can see that that point of control line is actually right in this section as well, which also corresponds with this midline of the channel. So for me, very, very, very valid channel. 2 touches here and 1 touches is all you need to actually create that channel. And as long as we're still in that channel, that's what it is. It's literally backed up by market structure. Even if we hit the top of this channel, it would, and then actually reject the macro market structure, would still be bearish. However, the last thing that I want to mention about the macro stuff is we have, I would say, midterm time frame now. We have put in a high, a higher low, and with that, to be honest, a very convincing, leg up, confirming that midterm time frame bullish market structure, totally obliterating that FTX crash. So what we've seen in November. There was November. So yeah, there's a little bit. There are arguments for and against of being bullish or bearish. And to be honest, I don't really care about being right or wrong. I care about trading correctly, and in the end, all right, so that is pretty much all I wanted to show for now, just to show you guys a little bit of context where we came from. If you want to rewatch these kind of live streams that I did before, then just simply go to my channel. And you can find them over here. These are all my videos. These are past live streams. If you only want to see the live stream, then simply click on the live button. This is where you can see all the past live streams that I've done. And there is a certain narrative on it. So the way that I'm doing these kind of streams is I basically pick up from the last stream and we continue on from there. So that is pretty much where we left off in the last stream, when we were trading in this range. And the overarching idea that I got going on there was this downward sloping channel. And this is literally played out pretty nicely, right? We have been breaching this channel now. So what happened is, in the end, we did have a leg up after, Okay, so let me explain a little bit more in detail. When I was doing the stream, I mentioned that we were in this upward sloping channel, which is being generally, I would class that as fairly unhealthy consolidation. This is not necessarily a reason to short, but that momentum momentarily is fading away. So what we saw after that, indeed, we saw a swing failure pattern from that high, and then saw a rejection while still maintaining that range. So instead of having this upward sloping range, we transformed this into a more sideways sloping range. Market structure holding up, right? As you can see over here, with a few wicks through. And from there on out, we started making our way, changing that local market structure within that range at first, making a high, higher low, and then a higher high. And then we made our move out of the range entirely, hitting that top of the channel, overshooting that a little bit, ranging on for a while, to be fair. And now we have just been, I would say not necessarily chopping through, but we are actually holding this line quite well thus far. And that brings us to the point where for the day traders and the scalp traders, etc., that we have in the chat right now, makes this channel a little bit obsolete, because this is not necessarily a level that I would trade from a day trading perspective. However, we are having created this range right now, and that provides us with new data, new price action, and gives us a good amount of data where we can do more local analysis from, in order to see how we can tackle this range and how we can expect price to advance next. So on the macro, for me, it's actually very simple, right? We are currently still outside of the channel, and we are having this range right now with that channel connected from this high. So the possibility still is that even though this has been a downward sloping channel, we could still make a move up and then get a bigger rejection in order for us to create a much longer macro sideways range. Those are within the possibilities, right? So that is what you could be looking for. On the other side, if we start to lose this range and actually get acceptance back within the channel, meaning that we would have at least a daily close, I would say, outside of this range, backtesting this channel and then rejecting from there, then we have changed not only our local market structure, but also we are starting to, I would say, these lows are the lows of the range. We are also breaking that structure, getting back into the channel, and also changing a higher time frame towards the bearish market structure. If that is happening, then you could say, then the probabilities of getting a bigger rejection increase massively. But until now, that has not happened yet. So what am I looking for? I'm simply looking at this as a sideways channel. Nothing more, nothing less. Within that, I have a few levels. Actually, I have two sideways channels going on here. A bigger one that encompasses the entire range, taken from a 4-hour time frame perspective. Connecting this to this little block over here, connecting this to this high over here, and you can see that it's actually very, very well respected. In specifically, this midline has been really well respected. Bottom line has also been very well respected. We've seen some wicks through it, right? But overall, you can say with fair accuracy that this line has been holding up very well as that top line. We have front run this line once. Then we actually, took out this high and had another rotation back to the downside before we came up once again, swing failuring all the stuff, and had a full-on rotation once again, having another bounce to the midline of this channel and make another sub-rotation, I would say, to the down part of this range. And that allows us to essentially form yet another little channel. This has been a little bit, this is by now a little bit outdated, but this is the channel that I was looking for, where we have been trading for the majority of this week within this lower channel part. We've seen some major volatility. If we do not get major volatility now, then I will show you how I actually traded that. I did post that on Twitter, the trades that I've been taking, but I do want to highlight a little bit more on this, because this was this is, I would say, the pinnacle of scalp trading based off of volatile news events on a technical level, and this is pretty crazy how that has played out. Yeah, and essentially you can see that we had some, I would say, anomaly kind of price action caused by temporary, speculation and news events. We have had quite a bleeding day yesterday. Yesterday was a little bit, I marked this day in my journal as just one of these days, right? where we've just seen kind of like a sustained selling, and especially on this part. But you can see that the technicals have held up really nicely. We've been trading downwards, got an acceptance in the channel, right? And then drop down all the way to the bottom of the channel before ranging on, and then eventually getting rejected by the VWAP, not once, but, well, about 4 times throughout the day, never failing to reclaim that at all. And then we had a massive drop. Well, massive is not the right word, but we had another drop to the downside, ultimately all the way to the bottom of this channel once again. We've been taking out some of these lows depending on which exchange chart you're looking at. So on the Bybit chart, we have been taking out quite a few lows, to be fair, quite a few wicks. We've been taking out this wick, these ones over here, this one and this one. But on all the other exchanges, we actually have not really done so yet. So there is a possibility that we might explore these lows on other exchanges as well. Let me show you how that looks like. So this is, let's say, the BitGet chart. We have not necessarily taken out these lows at all yet, as you can see. Right, we've actually front-run the level, and the same goes on the Coinbase chart, spot exchange, same story. So it really only is on the Bybit exchange that we've actually pushed down and taken out of these lows. At the moment, I haven't fully made up my mind yet about what I think of that, so I'm gonna leave it in the middle for now. All that we do know is technically this is working extremely well, and you can see that these channels keep on being very well respected. If I remove the VWAP, we can see that we've had temporary price action to the downside outside of the channel. Then we got back into it, backtested it super nicely. Then we had resistance of the older, smaller channel, got eventually rejected. Where did we got rejected to? To the bottom line of the channel. And this is so great, guys. Look at this. I'm not even doing any kind of Fibonacci. I'm not doing like volume analysis, nothing of that. It's just 2 channels working extremely well together. Keeping it simple, keeping it understandable, and just trading it in that way is what it's at least on this channel, if you will. Right now we're starting to, once again reclaim this channel. I wouldn't necessarily say we've reclaimed it just yet, because it starts to look like we're chopping around now a little bit. 7 minutes to open. So what do I want to do next? I want to look at the ES, which is where the open is going to take place. So the ES is like the smaller version of the S&P 500. And the first thing that I want to see is, are we going to get a gap down or up? So I'm looking at the price here, 41.62 and 41.17. So that means that we're going to probably have a gap to the downside, leaving us some room for potentially having that drop, fill the gap, and potentially taking out these lows that I was just talking about on all the other exchanges. So that is an opportunity, potentially, if we swing failure that low. That could be an opportunity for a swing failure of the low, and then get back into the channel and then make our advancement to the upside again. That is something that I would be looking for. So let's see if that happens. Let me set an alert there. And keep in mind, this is where it becomes very important to realize that I'm only going to take the trade if it actually swing failures. So what does that mean? I want to see the low being taken out. I want to see people get aggressive on the shorts. Right? That is what I want to see. And this is the most common misconception on trading in SFP, which is the moment that you see shorts coming in at the low, they have the potential to be trapped. However, that is actually, on first hand, is actually bearish, because people are actually trying to actively push price down. So you have to think, is that a great trading setup? As a matter of fact, no, it's not, because it actually shows that there's momentum incoming to the downside. So I would be very careful with just jumping into a trade with that. However, if we then see these shorts coming into the order flow over here and then actually get back into the channel, then you have a potential of traders there being trapped. And that can potentially provide a trade entry. That would be, I wouldn't say necessarily confirmation, but the potential of getting a squeeze out of there is fairly high. And that for me is how I would like to trade this today, if given. If it's not given, well, then we need to look for another kind of setup. Currently, myself, I'm kind of trading altcoins, GRT more specifically at the moment. So at the moment, I'm not really in any Bitcoin trade. The only trade that I am interested in is a swing failure of this low. If we start running up from here, fair enough, I will not take the trade. I will make money because I'm sitting in spot currently, so I will not. I will make money without pretty much doing anything, just sitting in Bitcoin. And I will not have a trade set up at the moment, right? For me, this is not necessarily a very nice range that I would like to scalp currently. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen. 3 minutes left. These 3 minutes we can use a little bit to check out the dollar as well. And that is where we kind of arrive in the trade that I've been taking, actually. Let me just move over with that. So where... Yeah, I was just checking some videos of some guy eating plantain, thinking it was a banana. It was really funny. So, 7th of February, which was, I think, 1 or 2 days ago, can't remember. We had some kind of news coming out, whatever. I don't really care about it, to be fair. However, I did take a scalp based off of the technical reaction that we got over here. And if you have been watching my stream, then you would know that I have been showing you this for a long time already. For those who are following me longer, at least you should be aware that I have been framing the dollar as a sideways range for pretty much since 2015, which is 7 years, right? We've made multiple rotations. We had two bull markets, and the bear market on the dollar, which shows us that there's inverse correlation on the dollar. Then we had, due to partially the massive increase in interest rates and all that, we went on a major run up on the dollar. And eventually, what comes up must come down. And that gave us a few levels. Let me remove actually this one. It's not important for the time. What happened was, I said, this should be support, right? This should be support and we should bounce from here, or at least if this technical level is valid, which happened, but only partially, never succeeding in reclaiming that market structure. As a matter of fact, we tapped this level almost to the, well, what you call this, to the dollar, I suppose. And then we got another rejection. And then I said, okay, I was wrong about this level being support for now. So I'm looking for the next level, which is this monthly level over here, where we then dropped down to. We washed around it for a good amount of time, had a little bit of a deviation of a fake out, but then actually managed to reclaim that and see a significant rise in price, while Bitcoin kind of held steady during that time. Still going sideways, just making its rotation within the larger range. And would you just look at that? The moment that this news came out, right, was here. We backtest this channel, confirming that we now are fully getting acceptance in the channel. Then throughout that day, making really big drop on the dollar, which is, for the dollar to make such a move on a single day in one trading session is quite big. And when I saw that, I longed Bitcoin at that specific moment. As you can see, do I actually have my entry on here? No, I don't think I posted that. Yeah, so this was the profit that I made. It was just in a few minutes, really. No, I don't think I've posted my entry. Well, doesn't really matter. When I saw that, I said to myself, I will long Bitcoin because the dollar is making a really, really, really big move here right now. And what happened is I did long Bitcoin. And this was not per se taken off of for a technical reason on Bitcoin itself, but I traded this purely on the dollar, which I believe is inversely correlated. And I said the moment that the dollar is starting to bounce, that is where I will be closing the trade to myself, right? So this was obviously not a public stream. And what happened was, I've always been saying market structure is king, volume is queen. Well, on the DXY, you don't have access to volume because it's an index, right? It's like a bucket where the dollar is measured against a basket of different currencies. But market structure, marking out this specific level, and look at what happened. We got a rejection, then we got a major bounce on the Bitcoin. So guess where I closed my scalp trade, right? I took profits along the way, as you can see. So I already realized $800 over here. And then I let the trade run. Eventually, I netted about a total of, I think, $2,500 in just a few minutes, really. In just literally like 30 minutes or something like that. The dollar started to bounce, maintaining that market structure, eventually continuing to range on, failing to change that local market structure again higher, and instead, boom, 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 changing that market structure to bearish. And that is what we are dealing with currently on the dollar. We have lost this level. I would say the rejection is now validated on the dollar, right? So we've come up to the level, we have now changed that market structure, and that means the probability, so I'll never speak in certainties, but the probability of us now retesting this monthly level at the very least is relatively high. Now we do have some levels that we're gonna have to test first before we advance through it, which is this one, like a little bit of a back test of that older range that we might be coming back into. So that can provide us with either a range or a bounce. So that is a level to be at least aware of. However, the market structure remains king, and as long as it remains bearish, I would say the probabilities are high that we're going to see another drop on the dollar. So that is what I would be looking for in this session. Now, if you correlate that with Bitcoin, we are and have been at the low of the bigger range. So 1 and 1 here is 2. So the probabilities of Bitcoin actually trading higher within this session is also then high, because I expect the dollar to drop just a little bit more. Now, this is the thing. Anything obviously can happen. So we don't know for sure if it's going to happen, but at least it gives us reason to make an informed plan from here on out. And this is how it all ties together, which is why I would expect simply continuing to trade this range until it is broken. We're going sideways, we haven't lost it, we haven't broken out of it. So this is the region where I would be looking to trade it in, with this marking out the ultimate low and this marking out the ultimate high. And that's what I would be simply looking for. And now we have been dropping to the low of the range. So let's analyze some of the local price action. We are now struggling or attempting to get back into the smaller region, what I've been marking out as well. Taken from the candle closes, and you can see that we are now locally having some market structure change. This would have been a great trade if you were awake. I would say this is definitely a very acceptable trade as well. Just jumping into trades right here, right now, I would say is a bit late. So for me at the moment, I don't really see a trading setup, to be fair. And let's just see if we can actually get a bit of an increase in price on Bitcoin. So on Bitcoin, I don't necessarily see a major trade setup right now, right here, I would say. And the reason for that is, let me actually explain that reason. Oh, there we go. Boom. Mike speaks, Bitcoin reacts. 5 minutes into the open right now. We are 5 minutes into the open. So this is usually a very volatile time, right? Where it's a little bit unpredictable on what is going to happen. People are getting in and out of positions. Maybe people have set up their positions in the middle of the night and they're just executing all at the same time right now. And that's the reason why you get this volatility. So this doesn't necessarily mean anything just yet, whatever is going to happen. So we're going to switch over to the ES and see what's going going on over here. Let me zoom out into a slightly bigger time frame. And basically what I'm looking at is ES is actually looking quite strong, to be fair. There's a lot of lines over here. I don't really want to clean it up right now because just can't be bothered, to be fair. This is a high volume node, meaning that there's been a lot of volume basically transacted over here. And if you would look at that, we have had a high volume node over here, and I think this is an old level that I had on, right? So this is an old point of control where at the time I was looking at this being potential support. With this being the point of control, eventually we went down much further than that, and I included this little range as well, and eventually we have moved the point of control to there, leaving us this not being a level that's not valid anymore, but it is a high volume level, so I expect some friction there. And that's exactly what we get over here. You can see, because we tapped it once, got a pretty big rejection, and now we're on this level again, right? But because we're here now for the second time, the level is weakening. And you can see that we are not really losing the level, not really reclaiming the level, but we're now starting to chop through it, right? So the same story as with the downward sloping channel that I just showed you in Bitcoin is essentially now on the lower time frames. It's a little bit less useful because, you know, the level is starting to get washed. Overall, I would say the next level on there is 4,300, challenging these highs again. And if we reclaim that, yeah, then I pretty much have nothing else to say than that I'm really starting to get pretty bullish on the overall stock market, because, you know, locally or not locally, this is macro analysis. We have been changing market structure. However, within this bigger structure, it is considered local structure. So to see real sign of strength on this chart, we do need to reclaim and take out these highs in order to advance upwards. Should we do that, you know, if we do something like this, then you know, I really have no reason to believe that we're gonna go down big time anytime soon. But that's something that that price is gonna have to, I don't know, we're gonna have to see. So, wow. Oh my God, I've been talking like crazy. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Switching back to the ES currently. So same kind of price action over here. I would say we are, yeah, what can I make of this? Pretty much like a little bit of a range over here. Nothing special. Currently it looks like we're opening on a bearish side, which makes sense because I said we are gonna have a gap to the upside on the SPX. So I kind of expect now to see a drop so that we at least can fill the gap. That can open up the possibility to get this swing failure at these lows. And that's what I'm kind of going to wait for. We're going to have to see if it's going to happen or if it's not going to happen. Let me check out how far is this move. We're now about just only 10 minutes out in the open. And that would be about a 2% drop. Given the current volatility, I'm not entirely sure how I would see that happening right now. So we're gonna really have to wait and see. I'm really gonna have to wait and see how that's gonna play out. At the moment, just nothing special. You could even dissect the chart even further and say like, hey, we're just trading in this really, really local range right now. And we've just tapped the bottom of that range pretty much if you line it up on the candle close. Very perfect. So that is something, Yeah, I don't class this as very significant. To be fair, to be totally fair with you guys, let me see if we have some levels over here as well. Well, we have the pockets over here, as you can see. So that's the reason why we are stalling here at the moment, right? And you can see that this is a major market. Levels pretty well respected on the 0.65. Very nice, very nice. And then we head to the downside of that latest drop. You can see that it does hold up, right? So you trade back down into pockets, find your confluence on the POC, and that's what gave us a bounce into the other pockets. So from there on out, we can now also start doing some TA and see where we can potentially find support on the ES, which I would say pretty much really comes back down here again at around this bigger point of control, really. Yes, you do have pockets here. Yes, we can bounce from here, but you know, here we have a 786. We have a point of control of this level. Oops, and we have the POC over here as well. So I would say this is a bigger confluence region where I would expect a bigger reaction to come from. So you know, so this is the thing. Like I'm really calm. I'm really relaxed, you know, because I kind of know what I'm looking for. I expected this gap fill on the SPX, and it does look like we're having that right now. You know, the reason why I don't have that on the ES is because it's the futures market, which is open pretty much 24/7. They do close in the weekends and 1 hour in the evenings for maintenance. But other than that, it's always open pretty much. The SPX, however, though, that is something that you can only trade on the open stock market. That only, you know, opens now, closes in about 8 hours time, I think. 7 hours, 6 hours. Don't really know. Yeah, I'm struggling here with the time zones, but yeah. Anyway, so while that is playing out, what can we do next? Let's see. I will dive into the order flow in a second, but I do want to take a quick look at the chat because I'm feeling that I'm just having like a really big monologue. Let me know in the chat if you like it, if you like what I'm doing here right now, and if you have anything specific that you want to know. Let me start getting through the chat. Let me pop out this chat. Oh, wow. I see a massive donation coming. Jason Casper, glad to see you here on YouTube. By the way, you should come on my show sometime. My audience will love you. Thank you very much, my friend, for this donation. That is very, very generous of you. Really appreciate that. Thank you. I will check you out. Thanks, man. Let me see. Let me scroll through the chat. Regards from Macedonia. Yes, nice. I've never been to Macedonia. I heard it's a really, really beautiful country. If I'm not mistaken, they have nice big lakes over there, right? Just be just be normal, please. Well, that's funny. Colorado, cheers, my friends. Thailand, cheers. Nice. So we really have an international audience right here. I feel that the microphone is a little bit low. I feel like my neck is stretching a little bit. So let me readjust that for a second. Give us some gold nuggets. Well, I think I've given quite a bit already. Hopefully this is useful to you. Switzerland. Netherlands. Yes, I'm from the Netherlands. That is correct. Oh, feels good to do a stream again. I like streaming. I like streaming a lot. A lot of liquidity under this range. Yeah, I do agree with you. So the thing is, what I think about this market, we'll look into that in a second. Open interest has pretty much been all over the place, really. I do conclude from, especially from yesterday's price action, that there were mostly either market makers or professional traders trading there because they traded really well, right? So they longed at the bottom, and you could see the longs closing at resistance, which is one of the reasons why we never, while we never succeeded in actually reclaiming the VWAP at the time. Slow bleed, yes. Yeah, that's what happened. We did have a bounce eventually. We did have a bounce eventually over here. We did have a bounce over here yesterday, where we eventually bounced all the way to the VWAP, right? So let's say, I think this is a really realistic situation. So one of the situations that I would say, if you are day trading, then I can understand that you have tried to trade along. For example, if you would say like, okay, this is a range, right? Oh, it looks like we've broken out of it, and I'm looking to trade a back test of this range, for example. I would say this is an acceptable trading plan, trading idea, right? Because you would simply be back testing that as support. However, if you start closing back into the channel, or if you start getting back into this channel, then then the trade setup is actually getting invalidated. I recommend for beginner traders to always set a hard stop loss, because it's really mentally very difficult to manually close your stop loss. However, if you are more advanced and you use mental stop losses, then you might have had quite a difficult time getting out of this trade, because what you would do then is actually getting out on a bounce. And that really didn't happen yesterday, because as you can see, it was just low volume, very sustained selling, no bounce at all. You just had liquidity grab, liquidity grab, liquidity grab, liquidity grab, boom, right? And then eventually you started having some sort of a relief. Now, if you were doing that, then I think this is like an engineered move to pressure traders to squeeze them out of their trades. However, if you have your risk management in place and don't take excessive risks, then you could have held your breath and actually gotten out of the place at the VWAP, on the condition you actually do so and don't over expect that price is gonna continue go up. And this is, I think, let me give you a small, I would say, lesson. If your trade setup is actually getting invalidated, right, then focus on getting out of the trade. So that doesn't mean that by this point your trade setup is obviously massively invalidated. And the only thing that I think you should be worried about if you're still in a long trade is look for a way to get out of the trade. And that would mean the focus from actually trying to make a profit from the trade, the focus should be on how can I get out of this trade with the least amount of scratches as I can possibly can. So of course you could have monitored the volume, and I expected the bounce coming in soon because the drop was not necessarily on high volume, right? So let's say you are in a long trade over here and you see the volume starting to increase and totally and utterly invalidates your trade. That is, at some point you just need to make the decision like, okay, cutting the loss bigger than maybe expected, but hey, if the momentum is picking up, you don't want to hold on to the trade, be turning a bigger loss than expected but doesn't wreck you totally to a colossal loss that will literally hurt your portfolio massively. In this case, it would have been, depending on your experience. So I'm saying this a little bit carefully, right? Because you do need to have the discipline, the mentality, and the experience to read this price action correctly. So this is really more for the advanced traders that are watching right now. Focusing on getting out of the trade. So when you do actually get the bounce, which also happened on relatively low volume, when you do get at these kind of levels, just focus on scaling out of that trade or just closing it entirely. What is very common, what people then expect, like, oh, this was the low, and now I expect this to happen and still make a profit. And I think that is a horrible way of approaching your trade setup. So let's say your trade setup looks like this. You know, you've kind of anticipated on your stop loss maybe like this, maybe trading it to the high. Decent trade setup, let's be honest. Decent trade setup. 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. It's okay. It's acceptable. And it is technically, you can explain it to yourself, so that's good. But by this time, you know, look at this. Look at your risk to reward ratio here. What's the point? What's the point? I would say just get out of the trade and just find a completely new setup. Getting out of the trade allows you to pretty much recover and see the chart for what it is and just fleshing out a completely new trade idea. Who cares if you make a relatively small loss over here eventually, you know? Trade just didn't play out. Who cares? You know, that happens. You know, you can't win every trade. And if you can get out of a losing trade pretty much more or less break even, that's great. That's absolutely great. But seeing the bounce, telling yourself like, oh, I'm gonna get breakout, I'm gonna get out break even, and then actually don't do it and change that idea into like, oh, but what if it reclaims this? That is a very bad trading practice. So, golden nugget. Remember that, I would say. Just follow your plan. If your plan is invalidated, focus on getting out and then finding a new trading setup. And don't mix them up with, oh, it first got invalidated. Oh, but now it's going my way, so I'm just going to hope for the best. That is gambling, and that's not trading. Right. So where was I? Looking at the chat. Looking at the chat, which I lost. May I know what VWAP setting you use? Yeah, I'm just using the session VWAP, so it resets every single day. Just simple indicator. And the only indicator that I'm actually using. Happy with both. Answering questions or a microlog. Spain, wow. Really, Serbia, clear and clean TA. Tennessee, wow, it's really international. That's really cool to see. Amazing. Don't forget to hit those likes, guys. That's pretty good. Are you bullish? At the moment, I'm neutral. I'm just trading the range. But given the bigger picture in mind, I have very little reason to be very bearish right now. You know, you might think like, yes, we have had a massive price increase of, how much was it in total? 58%. Yes, that is, yes. At some point you are gonna expect a retracement, but as long as it's not happening, it's not happening. At the moment, the market structure remains bullish, right? So until we lose this range, I have no reason to be bearish. On top of that, we're also now in/out or around the top line of the channel, explaining the choppy area over here. You know, that is for me personally, that's the reason why we're stalling here right now. And because it is on such a high term time frame, it does make sense we're just chopping around the level. It does make sense, you know. You can have multiple reactions. You can have a swing failure. You can just have a really quick reaction, but you can also move out of it a little bit, start doing this, boom, and then drop down. This is not uncommon. I mean, let me put that into perspective for you. Like, this is a big channel that I have been trading, and this is one of the reasons how I managed to get into a short at $66,000 at around here. Change of 1 hour market structure at the time. I have been trading this channel pretty much, and you can see what happened over here. Chop, 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 wash, 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 wash. Very uncertain what is the purpose and meaning of that channel line at the time, right? So at this point in time, given the bigger context, yes, it does look like a bear flag, but we're also at macro support at the same time. Yet we're chopping, so there's two forces at work here, right? There's bearish forces and bullish forces, which is the reason why we had such a long range directly crossing through these kind of levels. Eventually, we did. The overarching market structure proved to be powerful, and we did have a drop outside. But, we have essentially just traded on that channel line. And now it looks like we're doing something in a similar fashion over here as well. So, this is one of the many types of reactions you can get. And this just requires patience and resilience and patience for this to play out, really. Half an hour in the session, almost. So I want to continue going till half an hour more, so that once the open session is closed, because we're now, I would say, mid-open session. This is usually another point in time where we see a little bit of volatility. More often than not, we actually see some sort of a reversal. So let's see if we can get that in the region of now and 15 minutes. So let's see what is happening at the dollar. Doing nothing at the moment, really. Let me see, it's just ranging. Looks like we're forming some sort of a bear flag over here. So I kind of would expect continuation still. Nothing has changed here. ES just doing its thing. Getting a message. Let me quickly check that. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry about that. Had to check that. 3 minutes left. Struggling to find this chat back. So let's see what else we got in this chat. Dun, dun, dun. Some background music of your choosing would be cool while you go through price action. Yeah, let me know in the chat. I think there's a little bit of mixed opinions. I could put on some music while we are getting through. That is definitely possible. I wouldn't mind myself. Okay, so here we have a question. If there's so many shorts opening at the bottom... Oh, what am I doing? If there's so many shorts here at the bottom, doesn't that mean that price should continue down? How come market reverses up to trap them if there are more sellers than buyers? Thank you. You are absolutely correct. So when people short through support, then it is very typical, or you would expect, it is selling pressure to the downside. That's absolutely right. However, if you then see the buying instantly taking over and reversing the price action, then you can conclude that these are trapped traders and that their stop losses are probably going to get hit when you go up, right? So yeah, you are definitely correct. You are absolutely correct and right in saying that, but if they're shorts at support, it is an attempt to break that. Absolutely. And how come market reverses up? Well, that is the free market, right? So people, you have to understand that there's millions of people trading, right? And everybody is trading in a different way. So some people are bearish, some people are gonna be bullish. You have bots going on. So if a group of people is bearish and is attacking support, it doesn't necessarily mean you fall through. Maybe there's another group of people waiting for that so that they can trap them, for example, and in the end, it's all about how clever you play it, who has more money, who's gonna win. And that is one of the reasons. You only need literally one person to think differently than you, right? And that can ruin your setup. And that's the reason why risk management is so incredibly important, because you can do all the technical analysis that you want, right? And if you're good at it, then it turns out that you can be right very often. That is absolutely true. However, let's say I would tell now the whole world I am going to long over here, right? Which is one of the reasons why I don't necessarily like live trading on live on stream, for example. I am trying to think of a way on how I can tackle that, because I do want to provide you guys with some of the ways that I trade. Maybe I will just record my screen and comment over it or something like that. But let's say I will tell everybody that I know and that is watching, I'm going to long here, for example. It may work, but let's say there's somebody who is maybe a better trader than me, or maybe has much deeper pockets than me, that thinks like, we're not gonna do that, and actually counter trades me. And that is only one person that can just literally, or one group of people or one organization that just pushes price further down, and it can just instantly invalidate your setup. That is why you need to have risk management, and that's why you always need to think in probabilities and never in certainty, because you only need just a small group of people that think differently than you, and they can just ruin your setup in mere seconds, right? And if that happens, you need to know what you need to do to take your loss and get out. You know, that is why you trade in probabilities, because in the end, anything can happen. Anything can happen at any time, whenever, wherever. Hopefully that answers that question. Why would be curious on your thoughts on crypto as an industry? Yeah, so I'm not really a fundamental person, to be honest. I'm not really a fundamental trader. So whenever I trade something or even invest in something, especially in crypto, the chart for me is the main guidance. And if it just happens to be also a good project, yeah, then I might be more positive about it. Overall, I'm a big fan of crypto. Otherwise, I wouldn't be trading it, obviously. So I always say, like, I don't care about the news. I don't really necessarily care about the fundamentals. But deep down inside, I am obviously a big believer in crypto, because otherwise I wouldn't hold investments in crypto. You know, as simple as that. So I do deep down inside, I believe that crypto is going to be very good for the future. It solves a lot of issues. It addresses a lot of issues, and it is incredibly revolutionary and innovative. However, that underlying belief does not make me a successful trader. You know, that is what I do with technical analysis, and, you know, the way that I use my trading methodology. That the news or fundamentals are unimportant in that factor. Okay, so I think the judgment has been made. People do not want music. Great. Okay, so let me take a sip of my coffee and water. And let's actually get through the order flow. I would say this is a decent low, looking at it like this, just like this. So I think the probabilities are there for us to trade up eventually. We don't necessarily need to take out this low again. Let me see how that looks on other exchanges. Getting a brain fart over here. Oh, right. That's what I wanted to look at. Yeah, the low looks okay. Decent, I would say. I mean, overall, we're kind of just hovering and chopping around just slightly above the VWAP at the moment. One thing that I'm slightly concerned about is that this consolidation is starting to take a little bit too long for volatile price action, for continuation of this trend. Therefore, I'm starting to see this as a potential, you know, drop bounce and then another drop, where we could maybe see, okay, is there any confluence coming in from an internal point of view? Yeah, so we obviously have been building up volume over here. We've been building volume. Yeah, we have this low. Yeah, what we could do is maybe SFP this one, for example, and then reverse. That, how much is that? So let me measure that. That would be about 0.5%-ish. Let me see how far that gap is away. Okay, so could be. That's also 0.5% away. That could be a nice option. So I'm fleshing out the idea a little bit further, where you could be looking for a potential SFP setup. Maybe. Let me see if it's even worth that. No, that's not worth the trade. So I'm gonna pass on that one. Unless we actually SFP this, boom, and see that in the order flow, then you can adjust the idea, for example, to here, and then it's a much better setup in terms of risk to reward. Just taking the trade just on the pockets is for me not a great idea, because you're then out of this value area, you're in the pockets, and that's pretty much the only thing that there's there, really. So this setup is not gonna cut it for me, so I only am gonna do an SFP type of setup, and that would be a scalp. So yeah, that's an option. I'm not a big fan of this idea though. So if it happens, I might consider taking a trade, but I'm not really jumping and really super excited about it. Let me see what is going on next. So yeah, like the open interest is kind of all over the place all the time, pretty much. It's like massive increases, massive decreases. So people are just really aggressively longing, and I'm talking really aggressively. We're not talking about a few million longs, but we're talking about all the time. In every single rise, we see like 20 to 30 million longs opening here, 30 million. A couple million, I don't know exactly how much, 25, 13, here we have another 30 million, right? And then, you can see that they're starting to take profit, and it's just such a small region. So this only leaves me to think that the real participants are not there. This is just mostly bots, I would say, liquidity bots or something like that. And here another 30 million have opened. We see that just a bunch of stuff is opening. We do start to see some aggressive shorting, which could be great for a potential squeeze in the future, to be fair, because they're all still in their trades. So that is something that I'm definitely aware of. And yeah, I'm not interested in trading the short, to be fair. Not at all. If we do drop, fine, but I would be looking for a long then instead, right? The further we drop, the better the long setup could be. That's what I would be looking for. So far, really choppy open. Nothing really of much of interest happening. So I'm just trying to talk my way through, giving you these golden nuggets. I have made a decision though. I think I am gonna end up creating a course where I'm gonna explain my methodology from A to Z, from start to finish. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I've been thinking about this for a very long time. Obviously, it's gonna cost me a lot of effort and planning and everything. But I think, yeah, I think it can be a good thing. I might do that. I'm not 100% sure yet. Regarding risk management, there's a question in the chat that I see. Do you have a fixed risk when it comes to swing trades and scalp trades, or do you increase the risk when it comes to swing trade? That is a really good question. Typically, I rarely go over 1% risk of my trading portfolio. That's personally my risk tolerance. For swing trades, I do tend to go higher as I'm fleshing out the position over time. So it's not always instantly clear for me. For me, there's all with swing trade. I approach this a little bit differently, and yeah. Lost my train of thought here. Sorry. Oh man, I completely forgot what I was saying. Sorry. Right, risk management. Yeah. So swing trading, I kind of I use the same methodology, but I execute the trade slightly different. Swing trade is something that I like to flesh and build out over time. And basically, I envision multiple scenarios typically. So, I take into account whether we see, let's say, another increase in price and, or if we're going to drop down further. So it's a combination of laddering and averaging in. And compounding on the way back down. So it's always like a little bit of a game, and it's always building, rebalancing the position in this way. So I do have strict risk management, but I approach it slightly different on swing trading. If you want to know a specific number, I never go above 3 for swing trading. Ever, because for me that is a threshold that I above 3% I get angry, and then I get emotional, right? And I've tested that by logging statistics about myself, so that is how I know that I cannot withstand more. So I've built my strategy around that, and that is something that you should also do for yourself. If you're okay with losing 5%, which I would say is quite a lot, to be fair, because coming back from a 5% loss is can be tricky, can be tricky. 3%, I also think that's quite a bit. 1% is fine, if you take a few losses in a row, fine, and then you take like a good trade setup and you can recover from that. But the moment when you start getting into the 5% or larger zone, that's when it starts to get dangerous, because then you really need to cut down on your position size in order to keep on trading with the same risk management. However, your emotions always are telling the opposite thing. So your emotions always are generally, especially if you're a beginner trader, then your emotions are more focused on making that money back. So that means that you tend to actually go bigger in your position size, and that is a very quick way of ruining your portfolio completely, very quickly. Believe me, I've been there. I've made all these mistakes, I've made all the mistakes you can imagine. So that's why I'm able to talk with such confidence about it. And yes, of course, in the past, this was massively frustrating. Till points that I just wanted to give up, So yeah, just don't go overboard with your risk management. And if you miss a trade because of that, just wait for the next one. It's Bitcoin is not gonna run away or go away. It's gonna make all these moves time and time and time again. So if you just miss one, who cares, right? Really not that much to see, honestly, at the moment. It's kind of a little bit of a boring open, to be fair. I see another comment from Jason Casper. Another donation. Wow, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate that. Is the zone between the 618 and 0.65 called the Williams window? I could class it like that, but the honest answer is no. It's called the golden pocket. The golden pocket is essentially very well known Fibonacci levels that a lot of assets So not only Bitcoin, but let's say gold, for example, tends to react. And the 618 is a magical, really a magical number in the world, really. For some reason, a lot of things in the world are attracted to this. If you look at the horns of a goat or a seashell, you would see the 618 number coming back into that in nature as well. Or even a little bit of a weird example, but even if you're flushing the toilet, then it is also 618. The number comes back into that, and so it does also in price action. Now, Mr. Fibonacci obviously came up with these numbers, not me. But yeah, I have figured out that they do tend to work really well in trading as well. And Bitcoin specifically likes to react a lot on this. This does depend per asset. Some assets, like other Fibonacci levels, are more attracted to these kind of levels. But for Bitcoin, the golden pockets, that's why I call them pockets, right? Because it's like a pocket. That's why they're called the golden pockets, and that's also why I make them yellow. But I could call them the Williams window. Yeah, why not? Let's say I'm in a long from 20.8k and taking 50% profits in this range. At which point would you close that trade? 20.8. Where's that? 20.8. Oh, that's all the way here. That's from the previous range. Yeah, this is starting to come very close to advice and financial advice, so I don't really want to answer that in detail, but all I want to say is market structure is king and volume is queen, and at the moment the market structure remains bullish, right? So, and it hasn't really lost anything yet. So if you're looking for a good reason to close that trade, there really isn't any at the moment. So hopefully you can do something with that. I don't really want to go much more in depth to that. So yeah, you got to do it with that answer. Hopefully that's sufficient. Where do you see good possible support if we break this channel to the downside? Yeah, next support, simply, like I said, market structure is king. So naturally, I would say this is the next support region. So I would say that's midterm time frame, and then if we lose that, yeah, then you got a total and other rejection. Then I would foresee a much bigger retracement to the downside, lower prices to come. This can take weeks from now. So yeah, that previous consolidation range is definitely the next region where we would be looking for. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at a cipher harmonic at there right now, which I will mention on the stream right now, because then I can say like all the other gurus exactly as predicted. So basically what I was looking for looks something along the lines of this. This is called a cipher harmonic. Not gonna bore you with all the details of how I constructed that, but this is something that I could be looking for, where I would be looking for a potential reversal and then something along the lines of this. But hey, we have to still see if that's gonna play out. So far, it looks like it's playing out, but we're struggling again with two forces at the same time. Oh boy. Next time I'm gonna do a shorter stream because this is too long for me. You're all true legends, by the way, for sticking around for that long. That is very nice. Makes me really motivated, Really, I really like doing these kind of streams. Let me see. Market up or down? Please tell me, bro. Sideways, mate. Okay, I see somebody coming in with the Nasdaq is up 1% today. Why do you think that BTC isn't moving up? Well, I don't necessarily think that the Nasdaq is correlated to Bitcoin in any kind of way. At least I don't use it in my analysis. Um, yeah, Marius asking good question. Do the course for maybe too low? Yes. Yeah, I have been. Yeah, so I don't really want to commit myself right now in the stream into saying that I'm gonna do it. But if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna make it all the way from A to Z. From let's say if you've never ever traded before, like all the basics until the very very advanced material. So in the end, there will be something in it for every single person, no matter how advanced you already are. Even if you've been trading for years, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna find some useful information, a lot of useful information actually. So yeah, I will definitely make it accessible for swing traders, day traders, scalp traders, beginner traders, and expert traders alike. 100%. I promise you, that is something I will promise I will do. And I will also promise it's going to be good quality. The harmonic you just drawed is bearish. Why? I'm not necessarily thinking that far ahead in time, to be totally honest with you. It's just I want to be prepared for every scenario, right? So if we do drop to the downside, I already know exactly what I'm going to do next, right? Even though that at the moment I have no reason to believe that we're going to make that drop, but if it happens, as you can see, I've already, I plan these kind of things literally weeks, if not months in advance. So this is why I will never be fully surprised on what's happening. If we suddenly drop out of the range, I'm not gonna scramble and like, oh my god, what's happening? I'm already okay. That's where I'm gonna trade next. If we move up, then I know exactly what I'm gonna do next. If we move up, then I will be looking for that $25,000 region, where I would be looking for a potential short trade. However, if we breach this level on a major strength, right, then I can always make the choice to not take the trade and just, keep my hands off and let the price do its thing. And the same goes here. If you just start dumping straight through, this is just an idea where I would be looking for levels that I might be interested in trading. But of course, and I will never say I'm definitely going to take a trade there, because I'm a price action trader and a situational trader. So I always have to see like the context, like how did we get to this level and what is happening when we reach that level. And when I have that information, then it comes to decision making. But the plan that I potentially have is already laid out. But whether I'm actually going to take the trade, I only know that in the moment. Jason, you're making me shy, my friend. Crazy donations. Thank you very much, my friend. I really, really, really appreciate that. Yeah, I'll definitely be in touch with you, my friend. 100%. Legend. Yeah, absolute legend. 100%. And very happy that you like my content, by the way. You really humble me with that. I'm a little bit at a loss of words, to be honest. But thank you. Here is one idea why the 618 is so well respected. Bill Williams has lectured that... Oh, right. Yeah, well, yeah. So about Fibonacci, yeah, I have a background in art, actually. So this is what I used to do. I used to be an artist before I became a trader. And that is the reason why I was able to become a profitable trader within a year already, because I already understood a lot of these concepts. And when I started meddling around with the chart, of course, making a lot of mess and losing a whole bunch of money, I did understood why it works, So in that sense, I could say my past experiences from like previous endeavors definitely helped me make a good head start in trading. And that is always why I say like oh, so are you making a career switch, let's say, into trading? It is always finally getting a little bit of volatility. I would say the switch is never black on white. I would say, especially in trading, trading is a profession where it works really well. I would even say it's required that you just lean on the experiences you've gotten before, because maybe you've gotten like rejections at work. Maybe you wanted that promotion you've never gotten. Maybe you got that job interview that you got rejected for. Maybe you got fired or whatever. This is all how you learn to deal with rejection, and that forms you to become psychologically and mentally strong and know how to deal with downturns. And that is something that you really need in trading. So even if you're new in trading, I would say you can definitely start relying on your past experiences, and you can use that in order to shape your own trading personality and trading mentality. And I think that is very, very important. Okay, we're almost going on for 1.5 hours right now. So far we've had some price action. So let me just cycle quickly through the charts again, see if I see anything of interest, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. And I'm gonna do something else, probably trade. So let me see. Bitcoin going sideways. Essentially looking for this low to be taken out. If this is being taken out and not reclaimed, I'm going to let price go, and I'm simply expecting lower prices. This could have been the low, although in order for that to fully confirm, we need to get back into the channel once again and take out this high. Then you can safely say the probability is pretty high that this was the low for now, and I would expect another rotation of the range to the upside, keeping that structure in mind. So we will be looking at $24,000 or 23.5 first, and then next up we're gonna have that 24,000 region. If we break out of that range, then I would be looking for that 25, 26 region. If we lose the range, I would be looking for that 21,000 area, if not 20K again, and go from there really. As far as today goes, it looks like we're starting to drop right now. The opening session has now pretty much been done. Looks like we are getting some sort of a pushback on the ES. So we're going to have to see how that is going to develop. Support coming in around this level, around that 49.29 level. Then we have the next support coming in at that 4,100 level. And if I don't necessarily think we're going to lose that today, but if we do, then we have a potential change of market structure into bearish. But at the moment, that's quite far away, so I don't necessarily expect that to happen today. But anything can happen. On the dollar, it looks like we are now starting to bounce. The first resistance level coming up is this level at 102, 103-ish. This is not only the local market structure, but it is also, again, this level that I marked out earlier on the stream. So, okay, let's see what happened. Oh, wow. Okay, so we do have some volatility now going on. So let's check out what's happening. Big wick. Let's go. Wow. Major liquidation run. This is obviously way too fast to get into a trade right now, to be fair. We can see that longs are getting stopped out. A lot of longs. 25 million longs just got stopped out just like that. Crazy. Oh, wow. Just in the last few minutes, there we go. We finally have some volatility. That was very, very, very quick, though. That was literally like a 1-minute move. Jumping into a trade here, for me, this is too quick. this is too quick. If you jump into a trade right now, you would be looking for a 1% stop loss. And then, well, really, your first target should be this high. So that's already just simply not worth it. Also, this is just a really big liquidation grab. So typically, yeah, I would like to. So what do I want to see right now? I want to see now quick advance to the upside, because that would be perfect. You know, all the longs stopped out, and then we can continue without them upwards. If this doesn't happen very, very soon, then I expect another drop to the downside to fill this illiquid region, to be fair. And then we can indeed challenge these lows once again. So that is what I want to see. And price dies instantly. So we do have, wow, so much long stopped out. It's crazy. That's Bitcoin for you guys. 20 million longs just in a single minute wiped off of the table. Boom. And that's why you don't long into resistance. Let's make this into an important lesson. Do not long into resistance, right? Because you're gonna get wrecked. These are the moves that gonna get you wrecked. Very quick, very fast, and hard. So you need to wait for the setup to come to you and hope for the best. No, that's obviously a little bit of a joke. But yeah. Looks like we're not really getting a counter reaction. So at the moment, at this moment in time, this looks fairly weak. Still, the bounce is not out there at all. Which makes sense because obviously longs literally just got obliterated, so they need some time to come back. But let's see what happens. We do see some mild activity here right now. And let's see what the ES is doing. Okay, ES is starting to bounce. That would be great as well. The dollar, what's the dollar doing? Dollar is going up as well. And that part, nothing much changed. So we might actually do see this setup potentially come into fruition. So, okay, I'm going to portray what I want to see, and then I'm going to close off the stream. So another move to the downside, taking out the low, can be with a big wick or a short wick, doesn't really matter too much for me. But what I want to see is a very fast reclaim of this level. I want to see shorts opening up here below the support, and then I want to see that followed up by fresh longs into the market, and that would give me like the trade setup that I'm potentially looking for, trading it sensibly, trading my levels, not over expecting anything, not expecting a 50 or 100% move from here on out, just normal day trading, and that would be my plan. If it doesn't happen that specific way, I'm not going to take the trade, and I'm just going to let the price fall down and go from there. Okay, I really need to close the stream right now because my throat is killing me. This was amazing. I missed it. I love you guys being so active in the chat. Amazing. Really nice. And yeah, thank you so much for joining in. I had some fun. Yeah, and let me know, how did you like it? Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and give me a follow on Twitter, where I do post the occasional update on the charts and everything throughout the day from time to time. And yeah, so have a good one. Trade sensibly. Hopefully you had something to take out, and hopefully you have a few takeaways from the stream that you can implement in your own trading. And all that's left to say for me is